Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And tonight, a strong show of support of that nation from President Biden, making that surprise visit to Kyiv and pledging more U.S. aid. Biden announcing an additional $500 million.
Freedom is priceless. It's worth fighting for as long as it takes. And that's how long we're going to be with you, Mr. President, for as long as it takes.
We'll do it.
Thank you.
Biden reportedly riding the train more than 10 hours each way in and out of that war-torn country for that visit. 13 Wham's Carla Rogner spoke with some local Ukrainians about the president's visit to that country. Carla, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Matt. The president's trip to Ukraine was re-energizing for some members of Rochester's large Ukrainian-American population. There's also been great support for Ukraine from the Rochester community in the last year. Now they just hope that momentum continues. A symbol of the United States' support for Ukraine.
Just to think that the president felt that there was a need to show this support to Ukraine and Ukrainians and to show the sign to the world, it means a lot.
While watching this historic moment from Rochester, Elena Dilai says it is crucial that the U.S. does not forget about Ukraine.
Ukraine has been completely ruined by the war. Whole cities are bombed to the ground. Villages are burned to the ground. Millions of people are displaced.
She serves on the board of ROC Maidan. Since the moment Russia invaded Ukraine, the volunteer group has been integral in organizing local support for the country, with donation drives, benefit concerts, and sending ambulances in medical supplies.
People have shown their generosity, so all I can say, please continue showing it. We are grateful.
Ukrainian-Americans in Rochester will mark the one-year anniversary of the war with prayer and by continuing to collect donations. Meanwhile, dozens from Western New York are heading to the capital to rally for more American support of Ukraine.
Every country is watching what is happening.
Deanna Derhonk has plans to meet with lawmakers. She believes democracy is at stake.
It's about the legitimacy of the rule of law in the world. Do we respect sovereignty? Do we respect the dignity of human beings? Do we respect countries to make decisions about how they will live and the citizens of those countries?
And this Friday will officially mark 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine. The Rochester community is preparing to commemorate this somber milestone with a prayer service at St. Joseph's Church on Friday evening. ROC Maidan is also continuing to collect donations. We'll have more info about that at 13wham.com.
A dangerous encounter over the weekend left one dog dead after a vicious attack at Durand Eastman Park. 13 Wham Cheyenne Walker is live where it happened. Cheyenne?
Yes, Don, the family tells me they're still in shock over the death of their beloved pet as the investigation on exactly what happened continues. Luke Laporta says his mom's 7-year-old Cocker Spaniel Jasper was a fun and playful dog. Saturday, a morning walk at Durand Eastman Park turned tragic.
When they approached Jasper, he was scared, and the other dogs reacted.
Police say Jasper was off leash when another dog owner with 3 large dogs on a makeshift rope leash was walking nearby. One of those larger dogs broke free, attacking Jasper. Police say as the owner tried to pull the dog away, the other 2 dogs also attacked.
It was just a horrible sight to see, and when dogs fight, it's a horrible thing, especially with 3 big dogs.
Jasper died from his injuries. Police say when they arrived, one of the dogs charged them, resulting in one officer firing a shot. The dog was not hit. Police ticketed the owner of the 3 dogs for unrestrained, dangerous dogs. The tragedy sparked concern among others at the park today.
I have 3 children. My youngest one is 10, and to think that, as horrible as it is that it was a little Cocker Spaniel, to think that it could have been a child, that's pretty frightening.
And it's also hard because some people want to blame the owner, some people want to blame the dog, and I don't want to sit here and judge because I really don't know, but if you think that your dog isn't good around other dogs, even in public, you have a responsibility of a dog as an owner to know how that dog is going to behave.
Luke says his mom is distraught and in shock over the loss of her dog.
Jasper was about 7 years old. He loved my mom. He loved us. You know, every Sunday I'd go over there for dinner. I could hear him barking before I pulled in the driveway because he was so excited to see me. I mean, I helped raise that dog.
And the large dogs will release back to their owners, and more citations will be given depending on the investigation.
This is not weather related, but earlier today, officers in Batavia responded to the report of a tree falling on a woman in Alexander, New York. Now, they tell us that tree was being cut down and fell into the path of the 65-year-old woman. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Her identity has not yet been released. We are learning more about the 35-year-old man who was shot and killed visiting family in Rochester over the weekend. Rochester police say Jermaine Wilkins knocked on a neighbor's door on Parcells Avenue, claiming he had been shot and died at that scene. 13 Wham's Chase Howell went to Rochester's Beechwood neighborhood today to speak with those who knew Wilkins. Chase.
Don Wilkins may have been living in Buffalo at the time he was killed, but he grew up here in Rochester. I'm told by people he had dreams of becoming a chef and had a big heart. People who live in Rochester's Beechwood neighborhood say this is the home where a 35-year-old man ran to after being shot Saturday night. Rochester police identifying that man as Jermaine Wilkins.
I said, what? I said, say that name again? And I started screaming. I couldn't believe it.
Officers blocking off sections of Parcells Avenue after finding Wilkins unresponsive with a gunshot wound to his upper body. Police say Wilkins was pronounced dead at the scene.
Everybody that dies in this neighborhood, we know each other. We've at least seen each other and spoken to one another.
Lori Thomas has lived in the Beechwood neighborhood for 42 years. Thomas says regardless of what happened before Wilkins was shot, he didn't deserve to be killed.
The individual is dead and he was murdered. That's what's important. He was a human being and his life was taken, okay, regardless of how he interacted with others. It's unnecessary. The life of the individual is now gone, and the life of the shooter is now gone.
Cheryl Robinson says she knew Wilkins and describes him as having a big heart, often calling her mom.
He was one that I could always count on to have a really nice, heartfelt conversation.
Robinson says she didn't know Wilkins well, but his death makes her emotional.
I'm just driving down the street in the neighborhood, and I just start to cry. I know there have been homicides in the neighborhood before. Some of those people I did know. But there's just something different about this one.
No one has been arrested for killing Wilkins. Anyone with information is asked to call 911 or Crime Stoppers at 423-9300.